Hey, good people, how you doing? David Taub here, co-creator of NextLevelGuitar.com. Hope all is well. Hope your guitar journeys are going famously. I'm excited today as we continue with our series on blues rock soloing. We're soloing over a real rock ballady kind of jam track, and we're putting the jam track at the end of the lesson so you could practice and hone your skills to a sharp edge and practice these techniques and devices that we're teaching you. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to go over some E Aeolian or E natural minor licks that sound really nice over this progression. And in previous lessons in this series, we talked about how you can also use E Dorian, which is the same as D major, and also E minor pentatonic and blues, because this jam is so wide open. There's so much you can do, right? Oh, and if you want to see a lot of these scales drawn out, click on that link below. I'll send you a free video lesson and a free ebook where I have a lot of the scales drawn out and a lot of other killer written lessons and chord charts. So check that out. Just click on that link, follow the screens. I'll send you a free video lesson, free ebook from Next Level Guitar. So in previous lessons, we talked about the importance of pulling the chords apart in a progression that you're playing over, right? Yes, your ear will take you to the right notes if your ear is developed, but if not, this is an easy way. You know, it's the chords. I can't say that enough. That give the roadmap to all the soloing and improvisational possibilities. And in this series, we're kind of examining the relationships between chords and scales. And you need to do that, man. It's so important to study up and really learn about the relationships between chords and scales and what sounds together and what sounds best to your ear, right? And it will really help you along in your musical journey if you do that. So we are playing this jam in the key of E minor. And we're going to be focusing here on E Aeolian. Now, I showed you in the previous lesson some different E Aeolian scale shapes that you could use. And E Aeolian is the same thing as G major. Aeolian is the sixth mode in any major key, right? And the sixth note in a G major scale is E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So G major, E Aeolian, same thing. If this sounds kind of crazy to you or abstract, or someone tried to teach you the modes and it's very, very complex, it really doesn't have to be. All the modes of the major scale are just variations of the major scale. And anytime you play a major scale and you're emphasizing or starting on a note other than the root note of that scale, you're playing in the modes. That's all it is. It's all about emphasis. I can't say that enough. You're playing a major scale and emphasizing a different note, which will give you a tonality that's different than the major scale. Perfect for what we want here, to use E natural minor, because this is a very rock but melodic. We want to do some melodic soloing but have it sound kind of bluesy and rocky and very kind of liquidy. And so just take your G major scales and play them, but focus on the E notes, and that's it. You're playing an E Aeolian. And I showed you some scales, so let's get into some licks. So if we take this one E Aeolian shape where your root's on the A string on the 7th fret, right, and make sure you know where your E notes are. And this has great half-step bends on the high E string at the 7th fret. You're bending it to the 8th fret. And also on the B string on that 7th fret. So just go right down the scale, high E string. There, I did it on the B string. And you could end that with some vibrato on that E note, which is that 9th fret on the G string. And slide around. Because a lot of, you get these melodic tones coming in. You'd be so surprised how different that sounds than if I pick it, if I play it with slides, bends. And we're just playing this G major scale, but we're starting on the E notes. So it's E Aeolian, right? Another great bend is bending to that B note. So taking that scale, because the B is in that E chord. So that's going to sound awesome if you could bend that 10th fret to the 12th fret on the B string. Give it some vibrato. Rake the strings. I usually, before a bend, I'm usually muting the strings on top of it, and it's called a rake, and I rake into it. It's placement of the palm, so you can get that string rake. That's what you want to hear into the bend. Right, you could do that same bend on the high E string, bending up to the E note, which is a big winner because obviously E is the root of our the key we're in. Notice there, bend up to the E, right down that scale. Half step bend with the first finger. First finger bend, B string with a slide. See, now we're getting into all kinds of cool licks. Here's a cool one. E minor 7 arpeggio, which would sound great, played from the high string up. So it'll sound like this. Right? That's a cool arpeggio if you play it from the low string. And then slide up to the high E. E note, 12th fret. It's a good one to sweep. A little tricky because you have 2 notes on 1 string. Right there. So those are all cool little licks that you could play right here. But if we go into this other E natural minor or G major, we're focusing on E, so it's E natural minor. Only difference between that and Dorian is that 1 note. Here we're playing a C. Dorian would be a C sharp. Okay, so cool licks again is anywhere where you have half step. Like on the high E string, bend at that half step. And you have it on the 15th to 14th fret. So bend that 14th fret half step on the high E string. And on the B string, bend that 12th fret half step to 13th. Same kind of thing. But just throw those bends in. Very melodic, you know. And then that F sharp is a nice note to land on too. Like give it a little rest. Da 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 da. Da. See how you break up the notes. You don't want to play everything on an 8th note, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. You want to break it up. You know, and it creates this rockier road. You don't want to have it sounding like this too much, right? You want to have peaks and valleys in your solos and dynamics and highs and lows and bends, and you don't want everything to be one continuous flat line of solid notes or solid same dynamic, because then the user, the listener, you're not engaging at all. You want them to, you want to turn their heads. Ooh, what's that? Right? You want them to really, to knock them out, so to speak, when they hear these licks. Be like, wow, that's a cool lick. Again, you have cool bends on the 15th fret on the high E and on the B string. And notice you're also right here in E minor pentatonic, so you can mix in minor pentatonic licks, right? Like minor pentatonic. But then I go to that F sharp, and it throws that little extra note in there. And that's a nice, doing 1 string, 3 notes, hammer and pull. Here I'm doing 11, 12 on the G string, 1 pick, 11, 12, 14, hammer, hammer, pull, pull. And then 12th fret, slide to the E note, 14th fret. One more time. There it is. Double up on it. I like doubling up on the same lick, but throwing the timing off, right? So you listen to the pause. Do that same thing on this other shape that I was just showing you a second. Another cool thing you do to connect is come all the way down, start on your high E string on the 12th fret of your high E string. We're going to play all the notes of this E natural minor or G major. It doesn't sound that great slow, but when you speed it up and then do it all with hammers and pulls, right? Because you have all those notes in that E natural minor or G major, and you're ending on on that E note. So you could do, break it up. That's a great lick to throw in right on that next to last chord because it builds right back to that E, you know? So let's try some of those licks over the track. Here we go. E natural minor. I'm establishing E. There's some of those slides I was telling you about. Let's do those half-step bends. See, those half-step bends are so melodic. There's that little piece of that long scale or so. Here we go up at the 15th fret with those bends. There's a half step on that 12th fret of the B string. Let's mix in minor pentatonic. There's that F sharp, right? Sounds cool. There's again that half step bend, whole step bend. Now 15th fret on the B string, that's a winner, bending up to the E. Hit that low E string. Right, give it some teeth. Something to listen to sink their teeth into. Let's play that arpeggio up on the high string. I like it. With more half step bends. Mix in some minor pentatonic. Right? Take your time. Low E string. Let the notes breathe. Vary them a little bit. Now we're going to set up to do that long run. Just wait for those chords to turn back around. Here we go. There's our low E. So there's a bunch of licks for you to try in E natural minor, G major. Just take your G major scales, focus on the E notes, give it a shot. And I know you will like it. Mix it with minor pentatonic and check out some more lessons in this series. Mix it with E Dorian. And man, you're going to open up the fretboard like crazy. All right, and use these scales as building blocks. But the main thing is use this lesson as a template and kind of pick apart the chords if your ear is not ready to guide you to those notes. Remember, it's the chords that give you the roadmap. I can't say that enough. So have fun with that. Be sure to go to our website, nextlevelguitar.com. There's over 1,150 video lessons, written lessons, jam tracks. It's absolutely packed. There's a 3-day free pass on the homepage right now. 3 free days, all access. Check it out. And don't forget, click on that link below to get the free video lesson and free ebook that I wrote. I'll send it to you for free from Next Level Guitar. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tune in to the next segment on this in this series, and we're going to do lots more to come. You rock. Check out the jam track.